Hey folks, this is Johnny and welcome to Home Studio Trainers Personas Atom Masterclass. And this class is going to take you through everything that I could possibly think of for the Personas Atom. Everything from the setup to the actual use in Studio One. I'm going to show you all of the different modes when it's not hooked up to Studio One, and then when it is, there's a couple of different things to understand about some of the setup of the Atom that needs to be done before you open Studio One, and then after. We're going to go through all of that in this video series. So let's start right now with the directions below. You can see that I have 10 steps that are very important to get the Atom set up and working in Studio One, but not the least of which, and the most important one, is actually registering your Atom on the Persona site. So if you go to personas.com, go ahead and click on your little icon for your account. If you don't have an account, you will actually see the option to set up an account. Go ahead, get it created, and then when you finally log in, you're going to see this nice little orange register a product button. So what you want to do is click on that. You can see it says register a product. You're going to choose the type. This is going to be hardware. And then you're going to enter the purchase date and your serial number, which you can find on the back of the Atom or on as a little sticker on the quick start guide that comes with the Atom. So once you get that registered, it'll be a surprise to you, maybe, to see a copy of Studio One Artist for free that comes with it, plus a new sound set called MVP Loops Atomic Fuel. And there are a lot of awesome kits in this. We're going to go through some of those in this video series, so make sure that you watch the whole series. So it's going to be cool for you once you get all of this set up and you're official, you've registered your product. If you didn't have Studio One, you've installed it, and then you go ahead and you install the MVP loops. Also, you're going to want to get the latest version of Universal Control. So the one way that you can do that, we're going to go here and just type in Personas. Now, this is the main site, not in your account. We're going to go to Products. Then we're going to go to Atom Pad Controllers. And click on the Atom. There we go. Got a nice picture of the Atom right there. And we're going to go to Downloads. Now, at the bottom of this download section here, you are going to find the installer for Universal Control. If you don't have it already, install it. If you do have it, make sure you update it. So that's very important. And then, of course, the ever popular Atom Owner's Manual. And it's only available in English right now, but it is super useful and probably, in my opinion, the best manual that Personas has ever put together for one of their products. So it is very, very cool. And I can show you that right now by going to the manual page. You can see the Atom there on your left, and on the right, I have the Atom's manual pulled up. We're going to be going through this in a great deal of detail. I'm not going to go through every single part of the manual, but I'm going to get you up and started and show you the parts of the manual that will apply to what we're going to be going through. So it should be very useful for you. You can see here what's included. You got the startup guide, then you got the USB cable, and then you can see here that it tells you that you will find a copy of Studio One Artist in your account once you get it registered. So there we go. So let's go back to the directions and follow these carefully. So now you've got your Atom registered. We're ready to start setting it up. First thing you want to do is, if you look at number 1 here, you want to remove the sticker from the back of the Atom. It is a long sticker that covers the whole back that has a couple of warnings and a couple of details on it for you to read. And under that will reveal the USB port that you're going to use to plug into your computer. Then you're going to want to install or update Universal Control like I showed you from the Personas page. Then you want to open up Universal Control and just confirm that it's showing. So if I go here to Universal Control, I'm going to go up here to the manual setting again. Here we go. And if you open up Universal Control, you should see the Atom pop up right there. And what's going to be important is that if you see a little box, an orange box that pops up that says update firmware, you want to click on that, and then you want to let it go and follow the on-screen instructions and let the firmware update. Once it's updated, what we want to do next is, let's go back to our directions. Okay. Open Universal Control and make sure that it's there and update your firmware. Once confirmed, okay, Universal Control can see the Atom. We're going to open up Studio One. So let's go back to our classroom right here. And we're going to go ahead and minimize and open up Studio One. Want to make sure that you're running the latest update to Studio One 4. It's 4.1.1 at the moment, and that is the version of Studio One that sees the Atom completely and really gives you a whole ton of options. All right, so there we go. Studio One is open. So what did we want to do? We wanted to confirm in external devices that it's there. Now there should be no setup for you to do. Click on that. I'm going to click on the Atom, and there you go. It's set up perfectly. You can see the picture of the Atom. You can see that the title is all set there, and you can see that the Atom is the receive from and the send to device. For those of you that are familiar with the external devices, this is important for both of these to be viewable here in the external devices box. So the other thing you want to make sure of is to make sure that all of your MIDI channels are activated. We can customize this. We'll go through this later. But also make sure that none of your filters are on to make sure that you get full control of the Atom in Studio One and vice versa. So there we go. So that is done. And we're going to click OK. And now let's go back to our directions screen. So let's see, confirmed, no setup in Studio One 4.1.1, check external devices. We did that. Once we open external devices to see the Atom, open a new song in Studio One is step number 7. So let's do that. We're going to go back to the classroom here, and we are going to create a new song. And we're just going to create an empty song. We're not going to go through anything else. We're just going to create the new song. And if you look right there, you can see that now the Atom is all blue, and the little icon up at the top, the Personas logo, is also blue. When Studio One is closed, that little icon up there is green, and that lets you know that the Atom is not connected to Studio One. So there we go. We have now this set up right here. So let's go back to our directions. What else do we want to do now? It says go to Instruments, go to the Instruments tab and drag in Impact XT. We're definitely going to do that. And here we are. And if I move this out of the way for a second, I'm going to go to Instruments. And I'm going to drag in Impact just like that. Make it really simple. I'm going to go ahead and put the Atom back on the screen right there so that we can see what goes on with it. So now you can see that the pads over here are still blue. That means we don't have a kit selected even though we have the track armed. So what you want to do is if you are using many different devices or external devices for Studio One, you want to make sure that you go here to the instrument input and choose the Atom unless you already have it on all inputs. Now, I have many devices, so I usually have the default selected to a particular device so that I don't get a mixture of signals from all of my different external devices. So in this case, we want to choose the Atom. And there we go. Now, look at it. Now the pads on the Atom have lit up white. So now this thing is ready to receive a drum kit from Impact. So I'm going to drop down this little menu right here, and we're going to choose, here's the MVP loops, mainstream. Let's go ahead and just choose one of these randomly. And there you go. You can see that. Wow, that's loud. Some of these are great. These are actual loops in certain chords that you can open up. Let's go with a regular drum kit. So let's see, MVP right here. I'm going to go ahead and click this drum kit. There you go. Now you can see the Atom has updated to match what's here in Impact as far as the pad colors go. Wow, there's some really awesome sounds in here. Very cool. And you can see that the pads line up in Impact with the order of the pads that are on the Atom. So you can see that the bottom row is the bottom row of pads in Impact, and so on. Now, if you want to change sounds, if you want to update and have the pads do things in a different order, that will be done in Impact. You will have to go ahead and change some of the note numbers like C1, C#1. You can change those in Impact by going up here into the right here, the first and second. You want to just deal with the first ones, so you can change the setup of the pads to whatever you want to in Impact so that the Atom triggers the sounds in the order that is most comfortable for you. So it's really customizable that way for Impact. So there you go. We've opened up Impact and we have confirmed that we have full control of our Impact instance, and we also have everything from shuttle controls on the bottom or transport controls to a navigation section here on the Atom, as well as song setup and details, which we will be going through in a later video. So let's go back to our directions here and see where we're at. Let's see, go to Instruments, drag in Impact, select the kit and the new sound sets that come with the Atom, and have a blast. Okay, so that is the setup in how to get the Atom working in Studio One. There should be no trouble at all. It automatically sees the Atom and everything will be set up just the way you need it. So that does it for the setup video. Next, we are going to start going through features and functions of the Atom and how to use it in Studio One, not only in conjunction with Studio One's pattern editor, but how to even control Studio One nearly completely from the Atom when it comes to dealing with programming Impact. So hopefully you got something out of this video, and I will see you in the next video.